And then he uses the term, quote, low IQ. So let me get this right to the chain-smoking schniz buffoon. So now I've learned, after all this, that Andrew is taking my videos and he's obsessed with me because I guess he can't come up with his own material.
Was he clipping them out of context?
Well, you can be the judge of that, but he's taking my videos and now he's dissecting them and talking about them. By the way, he's not very good at this either. And I had a guy on this show a few weeks ago by the name of Warren Smith. He's got 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, and this is another guy who dissects my videos. So I said, you know what? Instead of dissecting my videos, why don't we just have a debate, right? So I had a debate with this guy, Warren, about gun control. And this is the way that Andrew Wilson decides to carry on his day, by doing research on me, by dissecting my videos. Anyway, have a listen to this. Can you give me an example of one MAGA Republican that has been consistent about doing something about all the gun violence in this country? Anything? Have they proposed?
Me.
Okay, but I appreciate you doing that, but can you name me a lawmaker that is on the right that don't have their AR-15 pins or brag about their A+ rating from the NRA, that they actually want to work with Democrats and say, hey, we need to do something about all the violence in this country?
Yeah, but maybe they disagree with the Democrats' approach. Maybe the Democrats disagree so strongly with them.
Barack Obama, after the Sandy Hook, tried to do anything and everything he could to pass anything into law.
So what do you think we should do for gun violence?
I'm glad you asked, and then I'll ask you the same question. I can name about 5 or 6 different things, and I'm glad you asked that question, by the way, because I think there's too many people out there that don't ask that question.
Okay.
I think first of all, the age should be 18 to 21. I'm very uncomfortable with an 18-year-old walking into a gun store buying thousands of rounds of ammunition.
Yep.
At number 2, I think there should be a mandatory 2-hour class. Now, I understand if you drive a car, it's a privilege. It's not a right. I get that. But when you get into a vehicle, we want people to drive safely, right? That's why you have an instructor. They check your health. They check your eyesight. Give me a 2-hour class on the basics. How to hold a gun, how to store a gun, how to shoot a gun. That's it. I think you should have to re-register your gun, just like you have to re-register a car. I also am a firm believer in red flag laws. Now, they're very inconsistent. I'm not saying if you don't like your neighbor, you should be allowed to call the police and say, hey, he threatened me, and then they take that person's away. No, that's not fair. It should be a case-by-case basis. In some states, a husband could leave his wife a message, God forbid, saying, I'm going to kill you tonight. That husband would probably be arrested for a threat, but then the next day, in some states, not all, that person would have the right to buy a gun until he sees his day in court. You know, I think red flags need to be stronger. And then there is the weapons of war, as I would call them. And without getting into the weeds on which weapons are weapons of war or not, I know.
Of course, the problem here with this argument is obvious. Can anybody see the issue with his argument here?
Andrew dissecting.
The main issue that you can just point out right away on Ben Shapiro here. Nope, it's not.
Wait, stop. Pause it. Wait, did he just call me Ben Shapiro?
It's kind of like
can anybody see the issue with his argument here? The main issue that you can just point out right away on Ben Shapiro here.
You just called me Ben Shapiro, you idiot.
He's
you clown.
He's reeling.
Owen Wilson. Let's call him Owen Wilson the rest of the show. No, that's. I don't want to degrade Owen Wilson because I like Owen Wilson. All right, go ahead. Let this.
Nope, it's not unconstitutional. You don't even need to make the constitutional argument. What Brian Shapiro said here.
There you go. You got it right. Thank you.
That you could, that he wants to see these things strengthened because you could, within some perception, make a threat to like your wife. And then the next day you get out and you still have access to your. The problem is what about accusation?
Oh my God!
So
stop
you could just make an accusation that there was a threat with zero proof.
That's not enough.
Did this idiot not just listen to what I just said? First of all, I clarified it. It's like the guy can't get the MAGA wax or the nicotine out of his ears or whatever the hell.
You covered it.
I just said if I don't want someone to just make a phone call. And say, hey, he threatened me, and then take his guns away. I just said that's not fair. I literally, hold on, 20 seconds before he just said that, I clarified. It's a case-by-case basis.
And that's not the way the law works.
No. It's like he's not even listening to me.
You can't just accuse anyone of anything and without it being investigated.
Yeah. By the way, people are wondering why the word gun is being bleeped. We're not doing that. I guess that's on his platforms when he's doing. So I just want to make it clear. This is his audio, not mine. He's taking some of my audio and they're bleeping it out. So he just didn't listen to what I just said. I'm not saying that every single threat you immediately take someone's guns away. I literally clarified that. And it's like he calls himself the master debater and he doesn't know. I think he's a masturbator, not a master debater.
It's kind of like
that's what I think he is.
Isn't that really what Charlie Kirk did? Didn't he take people's words,
yeah,
twist it, and then quickly make a point on the twisted words,
right,
so people couldn't really follow along what he was saying, and they're like, "Oh, that makes sense."
So a couple minutes into this video, he already is making statements about this video and misquoting and mischaracterizing my take. All right, let's continue.
In Brian's world, that would bar you from having access to your firearms. Well, obviously, that would be a very big problem to bar people access from things they have rights to, perceptually under the Constitution, if it is the case that they can simply make an accusation without any proof whatsoever. That's the problem. Yeah, false allegations, exactly.
There's an assault weapons ban put forth in the early 80s that was fizzled out by Republicans. Violence went way down. You could look at the statistics.
Yeah, and then Clinton got one passed, and then Columbine happened during it.
In the early 80s. Now, I'm not saying, Warren, give me all those things. All I'm simply saying is give me one or two of those things. It won't end all the violence in this country.
Can I ask you a question on that?
Sure.
What is an assault weapon?
Again, going into the weeds of what an assault weapon is. Here's the way.
That's not going into the weeds.
Actually, it is.
That's asking for specifics.
Actually, it is. I would define it. Many of these that are used, like the that were used in Las Vegas, the that were used in Columbine, the that were used in the Buffalo, the that was used.
Columbine happened during an assault weapons ban.
Not true.
I remember correctly.
No,
somebody fact check me on that.
Yeah,
I think that's accurate. It happened during an assault weapons ban.
Wrong. That happened in the early 80s and it fizzled out because of Republicans. There was not an assault weapons ban during the Columbine shooting, which, correct me if I'm wrong, was somewhere around the year 2000. Do I have that right?
That's about right.
Okay. So again, Andrew has no idea what he's talking about. Go ahead.
Well,
and they were using pretty low tech, unsophisticated weapons and some other things.
In the Texas El Paso, there are certain weapons that are built for one reason and one reason only: not to defend yourself, to as many bullets as possible in a short period of time to kill as many people. Now, again, we can get into the weeds on what exactly those weapons are, but back when our forefathers were putting the Constitution together,
that's really important, that distinction.
So if you don't think there should be an assault weapons ban, let's just assume that that's your take. Give me some solutions that you and let's forget about the assault weapons ban for a moment.
First, we'd have to figure out what an assault weapon is.
I understand your point. Let's just say, okay, let's forget about the assault weapons ban for a moment, that we disagree on that. What are some things that you think we should do? Because I named you like
Andrew. I've watched a lot of your debates. I work in healthcare and have been asking epistemologicalizing questions to my colleagues' worldviews. Two of them will be coming to Divine Liturgy this month. All this to say, thank you, sir. No problem. They had semi-automatic Tech 9 and with pipe bombs. Well, the Tech 9 is considered
5 or 6 things that you think would make this country,
and it was semi-automatic, if I remember correctly,
be safer when it comes to.
Sure, but it's still difficult. So I'll do my best to answer that, given that we don't know what an assault weapon is, though. But so we'll just say in general then. So because we can't define what an assault weapon is, I don't think banning assault weapons is a reasonable one. We'll take that off the table. I agree with you about the class. So in Massachusetts, I recently just went through this whole process. You have to, for me to get a hunting rifle, any kind of rifle, I have to get an LTC, license to carry, which takes 6 months on average in Massachusetts. That's to even get a hunting rifle. You have to go to a class. You have to go to the police department, fill out the application. You have to get 3 references. Depending on the town, this can change. They might require a letter.
And
my question is, what do you mean by the reference? Who's a good reference for me to be able to get a gun? What if you don't like my references? Can you revoke my ability to? I thought this was a constitutional right. There's some very strange things being done in this area, though. The problem with this model is that when you say to even get a hunting rifle, you have to go.
Warren is not being pedantic. I'm actually tired of the low IQ people thinking that because you ask people to tell you what it is that they're referencing so that you don't get a proprietary definition of a thing, or so that you can kind of walk through the logic of it with them, that's being pedantic. He asked this. what an assault weapons was, what is it? And he couldn't answer. That's not being a pedant. That's being specific.
Through this, it's the most frustrating.
So first of all, I thought I was being specific when I pointed to some of the biggest mass shootings in this country, and I was very specific. And I said the guns that were used in Las Vegas, the gun that was used in the Buffalo shooting, the gun
Those are assault rifles.
the gun that was used in the Texas El Paso shooting. That is being very specific to some horrible crimes that took place, and I'm referencing the guns that were used. And then he uses the term, quote, low IQ. So let me get this right to the chain-smoking schniz buffoon. It doesn't take somebody with a low IQ. It takes somebody with a moral compass to say there's too many innocent people in this country that are dying, including children, at the hands of gun violence. Even with an assault weapons ban put aside for a moment, if you noticed, Andrew doesn't come up with any solutions. He doesn't say, well, I disagree.
He just wanted to debate your solutions.
I disagree with Brian, but I have no solutions. Hence the Donald Trump fellatio syndrome. I don't like Obamacare, but I have no replacement plan. Andrew Sniz Liquor. Can I call him that? Andrew Wilson?
I think that's okay. Is Sniz Liquor okay?
Are we allowed to say Sniz Liquor? Okay. So Andrew the Sniz Liquor, or lack thereof, from what I understand, says, I have a low IQ because I want to do something about gun control. He claims I can't define what an assault weapon is. And I said the same weapons that were used in this shooting, that shooting, that shooting, and that shooting. I think that's very specific. Now, if he disagrees with me, no problem. Give me some solutions. But if you notice, Andrew doesn't have any solutions. Okay. The only solution Andrew has to anything is to attack women for being gay, attack them for performing fellatio on other women, and I guess call somebody a low IQ because he wants to come up with solutions, me, for ending all the gun violence.
Let me ask you a question, Brian. What does tighter gun registration and maybe some training have to do with whether or not you know the definition of an assault rifle? And by the way, the thing that differentiates a hunting style rifle, like a bolt action, wooden frame, and what really differentiates with military style, when it becomes more military style, that's when the assault definition starts to take over. And let me just say, he used example of a Tech 9. A Tech 9 can hold 20, 30 round magazines, but it's 9mm. 9mm can only shoot, you might be able to hurt somebody at 50 yards maximum. Now an AR-15, 500 yards, maybe more, rapid fire, small bullet, high velocity, lots of damage, lots of damage to human bodies.
You have knowledge on this as being a former cop, and you have far more knowledge on this topic than I do. And I understand when I don't have the knowledge that, say, you have on this issue. So what did I say? The weapons that were used in these incidents. I tried to be as specific
but the point was, you were saying tighter gun registration. And how about some education? And how about we limit it? But he wants to talk about the very definition. He didn't actually talk about the points that you were making. What's the downside? He said to your raising the age to 21 is, why would you take away the rights of someone who otherwise have those rights? But that's all of society. That's drinking, that's gambling, that's driving.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? Those are societal norms.
This is the guy who calls himself the master debater. I'm sure his wife calls him the masturbator, but this is the guy who calls himself the master debater, who actually people pay him for debating courses. By the way, don't you have anything better to do, Andrew, than to watch my YouTube videos and do these videos of your own?
No, you have a stalker now, Brian.
And try to make money off of my own material. You're an idiot. Okay. Speaking of idiots, in this next video, the title is Brian Shapiro is a lying idiot. So in this video that we're going to play for you, where Andrew dissects another one of my videos, he also dissected and did a video on my debate with Tim Pool. So I'm not like dissecting his own content. I'm literally dissecting his dissection of my content. So here's another video that Andrew did, because he is now, I guess, a cultist of Brian Shapiro, I guess. I don't know. He's literally licking my schniz.
He's bearing false witness against you. That's in the Bible.
He is. So here's another video that Andrew did. This is like a day or two ago, where I talked about Ashley Babbitt. I've said this time and time again about Ashley Babbitt. I stand by it. Ashley Babbitt deserved what she got. Now, it's a very sad situation. I wish it didn't happen, but she put herself in that situation on January 6th when somebody's pointing a gun at you and you're 10 feet away from a bunch of lawmakers and you have somebody pointing a gun at you that says stand down, get down, and you don't do it. Guess what?
And don't come through the window.
Yeah,
don't move any further.
Yeah.
And
I mean, how many times do people need to understand? They call her a patriot and a hostage, you scumbags out there. She was a deranged individual who clearly was radicalized from Donald Trump's rhetoric. Anyway, have a listen to this. And I hope you get deported to Gaza. And I mean that, sir. You are a racist idiot.
Why are you raising your voice?
Yeah, okay. I'm raising my voice because you're a moron. That's why.
I'm tuning in here. I just don't understand why you're making race an issue, accusing Trump of being a racist. He's not. I mean,
sure.
How is it racist by him cracking down these major cities? I don't understand.
Sure, I'll answer you, my friend. So first of all, these cities that he has talked about, they all happen to have black mayors. So let me ask you a question then. Why is it that he'd go into D.C. and Chicago when per capita the crime rates are lower than they are in many other cities across the country that have white Republican mayors and white Republican governors? Why is that, sir?
So it appears that Shapiro's argument here is that Trump is a racist because he's trying to send in and bolster law enforcement inside of areas which have black mayors. And so he's only doing this because they have black mayors, not because there's crime issues.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
That's not the point.
First of all, Andrew, that is not the only reason why I would call Donald Trump a racist. There are plenty of other reasons. Number two, can Andrew give me a reasoning behind why he's not putting these troops into some of the most dangerous cities in the country, many of which are run by Republican mayors, but he's only choosing to Chicago, D.C., he's talked about Baltimore. Why is he only choosing to do it in cities that are run by black mayors? That is the point that I'm making. Now, I could give clear-cut evidence as to why Donald Trump is a racist. I could talk about the thousands of discrimination lawsuits.
Since the 80s.
Yeah, I could talk about the thousands of discrimination lawsuits he's had to pay out because he didn't want brown people living in his buildings in New York City. I could talk about a quote where he said he didn't want black people counting his
sending
money.
out thugs to take brown people into custody and deport them, even if they're American.
Don't want brown people counting my money.
Somalians.
Don't want brown people counting my money in my casinos. I want Jews counting my money. This is a guy who has a history of being a racist, and his own father was arrested at a Klan rally. Good old Freddie the Grand Wizard Trump. Okay, who, by the way, Freddie, I hope you're burning in hell. I really mean that. Right next to Rush Limbaugh.
Andrew twisted it out of context, which is unethical.
So they're right. I agree.
He's so unethical.
Yeah. So there, his ethical standard.
He is. He's so unethical.
Yeah, he really is. So the chain smoking, schniz non-licking Andrew Wilson, again, a minute into this video, totally mischaracterizing the point. Go ahead.
Well, quite frankly, the culture of the inner cities that ran Chicago, D.C.
The culture?
The culture.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, the black culture.
Oh, okay.
The black culture.
The black culture. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Was it black culture on January 6th in D.C.? Was that black culture, sir?
So first debate strategy employed here is he's not going to talk about the topic at hand, but he's going to shift to the next topic. What the fuck does January 6th have to do with what they're discussing right this second?
I will tell you, Andrew, it's called a double standard. And he's saying it's a debate strategy. By the way, I don't have these conversations with callers and go. He's talking like he's some sort of professor. Let me be very clear. Andrew's not a professor, okay? He's not some debate strategist, okay? He claims he's one. He's not. The reason why I brought up January 6th, and you know this, the caller, who I believe is a racist, is calling people thugs and animals during Black Lives Matter protests, and he's calling it, the culture. Right?
You brought up something that is a fact. If you go to debate 101 in college, even though not even the 202 or the 101, they will tell you that when you're providing facts and you make a lucid argument, and January 6th is something that actually happened.
Leonard, you know,
and he's making a comparison. Yeah, and I would say, and this is not just because we're on the show together, but that is how you debate.
Thank you. And if you're going to call somebody an animal for attacking a cop on January for Black Lives Matter protests, which, by the way, I think is horrible, then wouldn't you call somebody an animal who beat police officer on January 6th? I'm bringing it up because I want consistency. And Andrew, the non-snizlicker, doesn't understand that. I want to continue
Lying
this
about that is unethical.
Right, it is.
Nothing. There's nothing to do with it at all.
Oh my God.
Black culture have anything to do with J6? What does that have to do with what you're discussing, dude?
Beating cops, dumbass.
Patriotism.
No, patriotism. Oh, okay, so it's black culture when it's crime, but if you beat police officers on January 6th, that's patriotism. Is that what you're saying, sir? Is that what you're saying? Because you sound like okay. Well, then you're an idiot.
This is a very typical tactic.
No,
that's good. That's really good.
In here,
I'm stopping it again, real quickly. This goes to show you who Andrew Wilson truly is. This guy just called people patriots for beating cops on January 6th. Andrew Wilson laughs and he says, quote, "I love this guy." So in Andrew Wilson's heart, which I believe is bigotry, and I don't think Andrew's a very good person.
Yeah, it's non-Christian.
And if I do debate him again, I will bring this up. If you beat a cop during Black Lives Matter protest, Andrew is totally fine with calling them a thug or in this instance.
That's a great point.
Yeah. But if you beat a cop on January 6th and you call this person a patriot, Andrew Wilson says, quote, "I love this guy." And he starts laughing because Andrew Wilson is a moron. Let's continue the call. I think
that was a solid argument.
Yep, it's almost over. The KKK. Let me ask you another question, you imbecile racist turd.
So it seems that Shapiro's entire goal here, as irritating as it is to virtue signal to leftists.
Okay, let's stop.
It doesn't seem like he's actually trying to make
so virtual signal to leftists. So Andrew called me a liberal on Piers Morgan. By the way, there's nothing wrong with being a liberal. He says I'm virtual signaling. Literally every single one of the people that subscribe to Andrew's content are far-right racist turds, in my opinion. All Andrew does is curl himself into a Donald Trump MAGA pretzel 24/7. And he says, I'm virtual signaling.
Yeah, because he's saying that it was gratuitous to attack the Capitol. So he's saying you're trying to be virtuous by making a comparison. I don't even know if the guy understands religion. I think he just throws the Eastern Orthodox Christian thing out there as part of his. That's part of his like shtick. Like
he's not very intelligent.
He's a con.
The only thing, and I try to be very fair, as I've said from day one, and you know this, anybody who beats a cop, I don't care whether it's Black Lives Matter or whether it's January 6th. It's awful. It's wrong. And I want you to be held to the highest extent of the law. You'll never hear Andrew talk about that when it comes to January 6th. Now, obviously, the caller might have an IQ of what the temperature is outside. It's unbelievable. Maybe that's giving him too much credit.
45.
But going back to Andrew, he doesn't understand why I brought up January 6th. You do. I want consistency.
But you didn't do it as a virtue.
No,
you did it as a question. You actually asked. It was an interrogatory.
Right.
It was a question.
So if you think that
you didn't say you guys are not virtuous if you believe this, that's not what you said.
Have you ever heard anybody on the right call somebody a patriot who beat a cop at a Black Lives Matter protest?
No.
Geez, I wonder, why is that? Why is it that we haven't seen Donald Trump or the Marjorie Taylor Greens of the world or anybody on the right call somebody a hostage or a patriot who beat a cop during Black Lives Matter?
Andrew is a terrible debater.
Why is that? Let's continue this horrible
points for his worldview, but rather that he's really trying to kind of signal out to the leftists who could be a potential audience base for him that I'm on your side and I'm calling these people the names that you want them called and yada, 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 yada.
That's another thing.
If Shapiro is of...
every accusation is an admission.
First
because
of all,
what he's accusing you of, where you're counting your followers and you're trying to influence, that's what he's doing.
That's what he does. First of all, when I do anything on the air, it's not for a potential listener. And Andrew likes to brag about all the listeners he has. By the way, I don't even know if he does a daily show. He might. I don't even know. And he thinks that I need to say things on the air to get listeners.
That's not how it works.
Let me be very clear. In the 24 years I've been doing radio, I've never said anything on the air in hopes of it will only get me listeners. I don't speak to the left. I don't speak to the right. These are my own beliefs. I don't hide behind a religion. These are Brian Shapiro's beliefs. I don't say things to get clicks the way that Andrew does. And Andrew just showed his true colors by laughing when an idiot, imbecile caller who called into this show called the people who beat cops on January 6th patriots, and he laughs and he says, I love this
because
guy.
because he's not a good debater. He didn't know what else to say, Brian. You put him in a corner. Like, well, is this
I'm not
wrong
even
and is this
debating him.
right?
He's analyzing my video and he's making himself look like a moron.
You have a new anti-friend.
Here he goes.
Yada 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 yada. If Shapiro is of
Blah, 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 blah.
yeah, and that is the yeah. Come on, man.
Yada, yada, yada,
It's
yada.
POS friendly.
Let me ask you another question. Since you think beating police officers on January 6th makes you a patriot, what would you say about Black Lives Matter protesters that beat police officers? What would you say about them? Are they patriots too?
They're savages.
Okay, so you're a savage if you're black and you beat a cop, but if you're a white person and you beat a cop on January 6th, you're a patriot. Is that your take, sir?
No, it's not. I don't
No,
condone-
yes, it is. That's exactly what you said. You said if you beat a cop on January 6th, you're a patriot. And I just asked you, what if you beat a cop during...
I was on Piers Morgan with him. That's true. I had equipment that was overheating because it didn't have AC in the garage.
That's what his wife says.
He also went on a rant about how I was making all that up.
He ran.
Where's the receipts? So I'll bring the receipts to the debate and show this idiot that he's stupid.
Okay, so first of
he
all,
was-
he did not bring those receipts to the debate. Where are those receipts? Number two, I made the case to him because he doesn't understand what satire and humor is. When I was on the Piers Morgan show with him, he did leave unintentionally, I guess, halfway through the debate.
So he says,
So
I'll
he
say
says,
it. I don't believe him at all.
Okay, but here's what I put out as a tweet. It was a joke. I said, it didn't go very good for Andrew Wilson. I'm pretty much quoting verbatim. He dodged me in the middle of the debate. And then I put a smiley face in the end. I'm poking the bear because I thought it was funny. I did it as a joke.
That's what everybody
Then
does.
he responds with a diatribe. He calls me the R word. He calls me a libtard. He defends himself with a long. So after I see how triggered he got by what was an innocent joke, I kept going with it because I knew it was bothering him so much. And he's still angry over it. He's still talking about that tweet.
It was actually well-placed satire, and maybe he needs a class on that instead of debate. He needs
This
a
guy
class on
has
satire.
This guy has, like, imagine if you're this guy's wife. This guy has no sense of humor. He's like a 5 foot
Smokes
tall.
cigarettes constantly.
Yeah, he's
Ugh.
overweight. He smokes his chains. By the way, allegedly you have kids, or maybe your wife's baby daddy. I don't even know the family situation. Really don't care. Shouldn't you be a father? This is what you do all day. You look at like my content and other people's content.
Oh my God, Brian, how many hours? I'm not an expert at it, but how many hours must he have spent getting this to look this way?
It's incredible. It's incredible. How much more time do we have in this?
He's
video?
stupid. He was trying to clout for him and say, "Oh, Andrew ran away." Blah 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 blah. This is all
Black Lives Matter protest, and you called them savages. I caught you because you're a racist. Why don't you at least own it and admit that you're a racist, you white supremacist?
Everybody,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
not everybody beat a cop. They're
I didn't ask you about everybody, you stupid idiot. Answer my question. I'm going to ask it one more time, you white supremacist
funny.
doofus moron, you. I didn't say everybody, you jackass. Answer my question. If you beat a cop on January 6th, we know people were charged and convicted, and we've all saw the video. If you beat a cop on January 6th, does that make you a patriot? Because that's what you said.
I mean, you can be a patriot and a criminal at the same time.
What would you call somebody who beats a police officer?
Not a very good guy.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you now for a fourth time and answer the question, you white supremacist idiot. If you beat a cop on January 6th, what does that make you?
It makes you a criminal.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Why was that so hard for you to admit? So here's my question for you, sir. When I asked you that question and you immediately called them a patriot, but yet when I asked you the same question about a Black Lives Matter protest, you call them animals. Why is that, sir?
Because they burned down buildings or looting.
And what did they do on January 6th? What did they do on January 6th?
I don't actually recall any buildings getting burned down on January 6th.
I'm sorry, I got
Okay, they broke windows. They took.
I'll fact check myself here,
Yes.
but I'm pretty confident.
Andrew's interrupting you. Destruction of property. Whether they you're right. Whether they burned buildings or broke through windows and destruction of property, it's the same category of a felony.
They crushed police in the door.
Yeah.
They shot him with bear spray, which
But
is not even for humans.
Do you see what Andrew's doing? Oh,
He's terrible.
I don't think they burned down buildings. The point that I was trying to make, and
I
again,
don't think
Andrew's
they burned
not a
down
very smart guy. It doesn't matter. The point I'm trying to make is the defense to racists or people like Andrew or this caller is, well, they burned down buildings. Okay. There was destruction of property, hundreds of thousands of dollars of damage. It's the same realm. Correct me if I'm wrong. You know the law better than I do. If I light a building on fire, or if I break a building with a hammer, they're both felonies, are they not? It's destruction of property.
Depending on the amount of damage, yes.
Right. There were hundreds of thousands of dollars of damage.
If not millions.
Right. Probably millions. Is he not smart enough to understand that? Like, I don't know. Let's just finish this. It's
Yourself here, but I'm pretty confident that.
Pretty confident.
Let's see.
Let's see.
Yeah, I like it how he does his Google search in the middle of breaking down my. I thought you were a professional master debater. Got to do a stupid Google while you're chain smoking, moron.
That's so unethical.
Nope, no fires that I can see.
Oh, you won.
I don't recall anybody saying anything about fires on J6.
Fire. Wow.
Is the video over?
One was burned.
What are these pauses? He pauses for like 5 seconds.
Yeah, I don't. Which one?
So, by the way, I don't condone that behavior. They're criminals as well. What? Yes, they did. They destruction of property. Are you kidding me? Defecating on Nancy Pelosi's desk, breaking windows. What the hell are you talking? She deserves it. She deserves it. Yeah. So you think it's okay if you disagree with a politician? You're totally okay with any everyday citizen walking in there and taking a crap on somebody's desk. Sir, you are not a serious person. You are Donald Trump's base. You are a white supremacist turd is what you are. And I hope you get deported to Gaza. And I mean that, sir. You are a racist idiot.
Why are you raising your voice?
Yeah. Okay. I'm raising my voice because you're a moron. That's why. And you're wasting my airtime. You are your typical Donald Trump supporter. We caught you. Proof that you are a racist. Apparently, if you beat a cop at a Black Lives Matter protest, you're an animal and a criminal. But yet, when I ask you that question about January 6th and people who beat cops, you're a patriot. That makes you a white supremacist, racist piece of garbage. That's what you are. James is next on PTL. Hello, James. He's analyzing another call. James, are you there?
Wow. He's got a lot of.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Hey, James. What's going on?
How are you doing today?
Good.
I was just seeing your social media over the weekend, and you posted a picture of the shooter was wearing a Trump shirt. Is this the case?
No, I don't believe that was. I believe that was a photoshopped image.
So you lied. So he lied.
Okay, so let me give people a little
fact check it.
A little bit of background,
and
I said that. Let me a little bit of background on what Andrew's talking about, because again, I posted and by the way, I admitted this on the air and I talked about it.
I thought it was real when I first saw it.
There was a video of, I believe, Tyler Robinson. Is that what we're talking about? And he was wearing a Trump shirt, and I kept that up for a couple days. And then when I found out that it was actually a Photoshop picture, I didn't Photoshop it. Looked real to me. I took it down. And then I said on the radio, there's a lot of people that Photoshop
and you
images.
Corrected the record?
Yeah.
What else does he want?
Why is he calling me a liar? How does that make me a liar? Because I posted an image that I thought was real.
I thought it was real too.
He's so stupid. He doesn't even know the definition of what a liar is. But have a listen to this. It's unbelievable how wrong he is about this.
He didn't fact check it and he lied.
And I've said that publicly. And no, that's.
So you lied.
What?
Refused to vet any of the sources and just flat out lied.
That's not an image. That was a real image. That was an image that was put up, I believe, by CBS, where he was wearing a different shirt. That's my understanding of it. But no, my understanding is that was a Photoshopped image. Unfortunately, we see Photoshopped images on social media all the time. I'm not someone who Photoshops images. I didn't do that.
But you just retweeted it.
Yeah. But what we do know is that he comes from a Trump-supporting conservative family. We know that. So does that...
Pushing the limit every weekday at noon on KSHP North Las Vegas, FM, AM 829-680 North Las Vegas, and KSHP.com.
Answer your question.
Well, I was just wondering because you left it up for multiple days after many people told you to Photoshop, and you still left
That's also
it up.
not true. So what do you want? Do you want to? Did that bother you a lot,
just,
sir? That bothers you as a Trump supporter?
Yeah. It's bothersome when you lie your ass
Hold
off.
on a second. The guy,
Why can't he get in his frame
the
either?
guy,
Get in your
the guy who supports Donald Trump. Now, this wasn't a lie. I just want to be very clear on that. When I found out that it actually was photoshopped, I took it down. But this bothers him so much. You see the anger? He doesn't like liars. He literally supports the guy who lies every day, who lied about the 2020 election, the only president in American history who hasn't conceded an election. He lies about his health. He lies about his taxes. He lies about his business dealings with people that are overseas. He literally lies about every facet of his life.
Why can't he get in his frame either? Get in your frame, dude. Come on.
What is
Hold
he?
on.
This guy. He's like,
What is he?
He's
What
talking
is he
about.
talking about?
So the guy who chain smokes on the Piers Morgan show is angry that I'm not in the frame. Is this guy in love with me?
Well, you know, he kind of
Does he want to
he
schnizzlick me
lied.
or something? I don't know. I don't know.
Isn't it a sin to bear false witness against your neighbor? I mean, he's a big time Christian, right? Isn't that in the Bible?
I don't even want to play any more of this video. Should we play a couple more seconds? I don't know. Should we ask people? All right, play a couple more seconds.
like peeping his head over like he's in, what was that guy? Chris Hansen. He's peeping his head in like he's.
Now I'm a child molester? Is that what he's saying? I don't understand.
Have a seat right over there. Poking his head in.
What?
There's something clearly wrong with him.
He's trying to like mock me in the.
Come on, man. Get in the frame.
Well, you just need to be helped.
Does it bother you? Does it bother you as a Trump supporter? Tell me. Why does that bother you, sir? Does it bother you? No, tell me. Tell me.
Brian.
You get the point. So I'm a liar because I put up a tweet, a video that I thought was a real video. Then when I found out that it was fake, I did take it
I
down.
forwarded it to my friends. I
Yeah,
didn't know
yeah.
it was fake.
So that's what Andrew is doing now. I just wanted to let everybody know.